Hello, welcome to First Chapter Friday. Our story today is Shatter Me, and it's by Tahereh Mafi. This is a book that came out a while ago. It came out 2011, and that's when I originally had read it. I thought that it was only 3 books, but oh my goodness, it actually continued into 11 books. And then there's novellas in between and stuff, different perspectives. So if you enjoy this book, then you have a whole lot to keep you busy. It's also a book that is incredibly popular on Book Talk. It is very much a bookstagram, must read. And there's on YouTube a whole bunch of other review sites that either they absolutely love it or they don't understand why it's so popular. So I really hope that you give it a try and that you make up your own mind. All right, I could just do 1 chapter, but that would only be 3 pages. So I'm going to stop at, I think it was the 4th chapter, where you're introduced to a secondary character who is incredibly important. Okay. There is a prologue, and it is by Robert Frost, The Road Less Taken. But I'm going to skip that. You absolutely should know that one by heart already. Chapter 1. I've been locked up for 264 days. I have nothing but a small notebook and a broken pen and the numbers in my head to keep me company. 1 window, 4 walls, 144 square feet of space, 26 letters in an alphabet that I haven't spoken in 264 days of isolation. 6,336 hours since I've touched another human being. You're getting a cellmate. Strike that. Roommate, they said to me. We hope you rot to death in this place. Strike that. For good behavior, they said to me. Another psycho just like you. Strike that. No more isolation, they said to me. They are the minions of the reestablishment, the initiative that was supposed to help our dying society. The same people who pulled me out of my parents' home and locked me in an asylum for something outside of my control. No one cares that I didn't know what I was capable of, that I didn't know what I was doing. I have no idea where I am. I only know that I was transported by someone in a white van who drove 6 hours and 37 minutes to get me here. I know I was handcuffed to my seat. I know I was strapped to my chair. I know my parents never bothered to say goodbye. Strike that. I know I didn't cry as I was taken away. I know the sky falls down every day. The sun drops into the ocean and splashes browns and reds and yellows and oranges into the world outside my window. 1,000,000 leaves from 100 different branches dip in the wind, fluttering with the false promise of flight. The gust catches their withered wings only to force them downward, forgotten, left to be trampled by the soldiers stationed just below. There aren't as many trees as there were before. It's what the scientists say. They say our world used to be green, our clouds used to be white, our sun was always the right kind of light. But I have very faint memories of that world. I don't remember much from before. The only existence I know now is the one that I was given, an echo of what used to be. I press my palm to the small pane of glass and feel the cold clamp, my hand in a familiar embrace. We are both alone, both existing in the absence of something else. I grab my nearby useless pen with a very little ink. I've learned to ration each day and stare at it. Change my mind. Abandon the effort it takes to write things down. Having a cellmate might be okay. talking to a real human being might make things easier. I practice using my voice, shaping my lips around the familiar words, unfamiliar to my mouth. I practice all day. I'm surprised I remember how to speak. I roll my little notebook into a ball I shove into the wall. I sit up on the cloth-covered springs I'm forced to sleep on. I wait. I rock back and forth and wait. I wait too long and fall asleep. My eyes open to 2 eyes, 2 lips, 2 ears, 2 eyebrows. I stifle my scream, my urgency to run, the crippling horror gripping my limbs. "Yeah, and you're a girl." He cocks an eyebrow. He leans away from my face. He grins, but he's not smiling, and I want to cry, my eyes desperate, terrified, darting to the door. I tried to open so many times I'd lost count. They locked me up with a boy. A boy. Dear God. They're trying to kill me. They've done it on purpose, to torture me, to torment me, to keep me from sleeping through the night ever again. His arms are tatted up, half sleeves to his elbow. His eyebrow is missing a ring they must have confiscated. Dark blue eyes, dark brown hair, sharp jawline, strong, lean frame, gorgeous. Strike that. Dangerous. Terrifying. Horrible. He laughs, and I fall off my bed and scuttle into the corner. He sizes up the meager pillow on the spare bed they shoved into the empty space this morning. The skimpy mattress and threadbare blanket hardly big enough to support his upper half. He glances at my bed, glances at his bed, shoves them both together with one hand, uses his foot to push the 2 metal frames to his side of the room, stretches out across the 2 mattresses, grabbing my pillow to fluff up under his neck. I've begun to shake. I bite my lip and try to bury myself in the dark corner. He's stolen my bed, my blanket, my pillow. I have nothing but the floor. I will have nothing but the floor. I will never fight back because I'm too petrified, too paralyzed, too paranoid. So you're what? Insane? Is that why you're here? I'm not insane. Strike that. He props himself up enough to see my face. He laughs again. I'm not gonna hurt you. I want to believe him. Strike that. I don't believe him. What's your name? He asks. None of your business. What's your name? Strike that. I hear his irritated exhalation of breath. I hear him turn over on the bed that used to be half mine. I stay awake all night, my knees curled up to my chin, my arms wrapped tight around my small frame, my long brown hair the only curtain between us. I will not sleep. I cannot sleep. I cannot hear those screams again. Chapter 2. It smells like rain in the morning. The room is heavy with the scent of wet stone, upturned soil. The air is dank and earthy. I take a deep breath, and I tiptoe to the window, only to press my nose against the cool surface. Feel my breath fog up the glass. Close my eyes to the sound of a soft pitter-patter rushing through the wind. Raindrops are my only reminder that clouds have a heartbeat, that I have one too. I always wonder about raindrops. I wonder about how they're always falling down, tripping over their own feet, breaking their legs and forgetting their parachutes as they tumble right out of the sky toward an uncertain end. It's like someone is emptying their pockets over the earth and doesn't seem to care where the contents fall. doesn't seem to care that the raindrops burst when they hit the ground, that they shatter when they fall to the floor, that people curse the days the drops dare to tap on their doors. I am a raindrop. My parents emptied their pockets of me and left me to evaporate on a concrete slab. Strike that. The window tells me we're not far from the mountains, and definitely near the water, but everything is near the water these days. I just don't know which side we're on, which direction we're facing. I squint up at the early morning light. Someone picked up the sun and pinned it to the sky again, but every day it hangs a little lower than the day before. It's like a negligent parent who only knows one half of who you are. It never sees how its absence changes people, how different we are in the dark. A sudden rustle means my cellmate is awake. I spin around like I've been caught stealing food again. That only happened once, and my parents didn't believe me when I said that it wasn't me. I said I was just trying to save the stray cats living around the corner, but they didn't think I was human enough to care about a cat. Not me. Not something. Strike that. Someone like me. But then they never believed anything I said. That's exactly why I'm here. Cellmate is studying me. He fell asleep fully clothed. He's wearing a navy blue t-shirt and khaki cargo pants tucked into shin-high black boots. I'm wearing dead cotton on my limbs and a blush of roses on my face. His eyes scan the silhouette of my structure, and the slow motion makes my heart race. I catch the rose petals as they fall from my cheeks, as they float around the frame of my body, as they cover me in something that feels like the absence of courage. Stop looking at me, is what I want to say. Stop touching me with your eyes, and keep your hands to your sides, and please, and please, and please. What is your name? The tilt of his head cracks gravity in half. I'm suspended in the moment. I blink and bottle my breaths. He shifts, and my eyes shatter into 1,000 pieces that ricochet around the room, capturing 1,000,000 snapshots, 1,000,000 moments in time. Flickering images faded with age, frozen thoughts hovering precariously in dead space, a whirlwind of memories that slice through my soul. He reminds me of someone I used to know. Strike that. One sharp breath and I am knocked back into reality. No more daydreams. Strike that. Why are you here? I ask. The cracks in the concrete wall. 14 cracks in 4 walls and 1,000 shades of gray. The floor, the ceiling, all the same slab of stone. The pathetically constructed bed frames built from old water pipes. The small square of a window, too thick to shatter. My hope is exhausted. My eyes are unfocused and aching. My finger is tracing a lazy path across the cold floor. I'm sitting on the ground where it smells like ice and metal and dirt. Cellmate sits across from me, his legs folded underneath him, his boots just a little too shiny for this place. You're afraid of me. His voice has no shape. My fingers find their way to a fist. I'm afraid you're wrong. I might be lying, but that's none of his business. He snorts, and the sound echoes in the dead air between us. I don't lift my head. I don't meet the eyes he's drilling in my direction. I taste the stale, wasted oxygen and sigh. My throat is tight with something. Familiar to me, something I've learned to swallow. 2 knocks at the door. Startle my emotions back into place. He's upright in an instant. "No one is there," I tell him. "It's just our breakfast." 264 breakfasts, and I still don't know what it's made of. It smells like too many chemicals, an amorphous lump always delivered in extremes. Sometimes too sweet, sometimes too salty, always disgusting. Most of the time I'm too starved to notice the difference. I hear him hesitate for only an instant before edging toward the door. He slides open a small slot and peers through to a world that no longer exists. S-word! He practically flings the tray through the opening, pausing only to slap his palm against his shirt. S! He curls his fingers into a tight fist and clenches his jaw. He's burned his hand. I would have warned him if he would have listened. "You should wait at least 3 minutes before touching the tray," I tell the wall. I don't look at the faint scars gracing my small hands, at the burn marks no one could have taught me to avoid. "I think they do it on purpose," I add quietly. "Oh, so you're talking to me today?" He's angry. His eyes flash before he looks away, and I realize he's more embarrassed than anything else. He's a tough guy. Too tough to make a stupid mistake in front of a girl. Too tough to show pain. I press my lips together and stare out of the small square of glass they call a window. There aren't many animals left, but I've heard stories of birds that fly. Maybe one day I'll get to see one. The stories are so wildly woven these days. There's very little to believe. But I've heard more than one person say they've actually seen a flying bird within the last few years. So I watch out the window. There will be a bird today. It will be white, with streaks of gold like a crown atop its head. It will fly. There will be a bird today. It will be white with streaks of gold like a crown atop its head. It will fly. There will be his hand on me. 2 tips of 2 fingers graze my cloth-covered shoulder for less than a second, and every muscle, every tendon in my body is fraught with tension and tied into knots that clench my spine. I stay very still. I don't move. I don't breathe. Maybe if I don't move, this feeling will last forever. No one has touched me in 264 days. Strike that. Sometimes I think the loneliness inside of me is going to explode through my skin, and sometimes I'm not sure if crying or screaming or laughing through the hysteria will solve anything at all. Sometimes I'm so desperate to touch, to be touched, to feel that I'm almost certain I'm going to fall off a cliff in an alternative universe where no one will ever be able to find me. It doesn't seem possible. I've been screaming for years and no one has ever heard me. Aren't you hungry? His voice is lower now, a little worried. I've been starving for 264 days. Scratch that. No. The word is little more than a broken breath as it escapes my lips, and I turn, and I shouldn't, but I do, and he's staring at me, studying me. His lips are only barely parted, his limbs limp at his side, his lashes blinking back, confusion. Something punches me in the stomach. His eyes. Something about his eyes. It's not him. Not him. Not him. Not him. Not him. Strike that. I close the world away. Lock it up. Turn the key so tight. Blackness buries me in its folds. Hey! My eyes break open. 2 shattered windows filling my mouth with glass. What What is it? His voice is a failed attempt at flatness, an anxious attempt at apathy. Nothing. Strike that. I focus on the transparent square wedged between me and my freedom. I want to smash this concrete world into oblivion. I want to be bigger, better, stronger. I want to be angry, angry, angry. Strike that. I want to be the bird that flies away. What are you writing? Cellmate speaks again. These words are vomit. Strike that. This shaky pen is my sarcophagus. Strike that. This sheet of paper is my porcelain bowl. Strike that. Why won't you answer me? He's too close. Too close. Too close. No one is ever close enough. I suck in my breath and wait for him to walk away like everyone else in my life. My eyes are focused on the window and the promise of what could be. The promise of something grander, something greater, some reason for the madness building in my bones, some explanation for my inability to do anything without ruining everything. There will be a bird. It will be white with streaks of gold like a crown atop its head. It will fly. There will be a bird. It will be, "Hey, you can't touch me," I whisper. I'm lying, is what I don't tell him. He can touch me, is what I'll never tell him. Please touch me, is what I want to tell him. But things happen when people touch me. Strange things, bad things, dead things. I can't remember the warmth of any kind of embrace. My arms ache from the inescapable ice of isolation. My own mother couldn't hold me in her arms. My father couldn't warm my frozen hands. I live in a world of nothing. Hello, world. You will forget me. Knock, knock. Cellmate jumps to his feet. It's time to shower. Chapter 3. The door opens to an abyss. There's no color, no light, no promise of anything but horror on the other side. No words, no direction, just an open door that means the very same thing every time. Cellmate has questions. What the hell? He looks from me to the illusion of escape. They're letting us out? They'll never let us out. Strike that. It's time to shower. Shower? His voice loses inflection, but it's still threaded with curiosity. We don't have much time, I tell him. We have to hurry. Wait, what? He reaches for my arm, but I pull away. But there's no light. We can't even see where we're going. Quickly, I focus my eyes on the floor. Take the hem of my shirt. What are you talking about? An alarm sounds in the distance. A buzzing hums closer by the second. Soon the entire cell is vibrating with the warning, and the door is slipping back into place. I grab his shirt and I pull him into the blackness beside me. Don't say anything. But nothing, I hiss. I tug on his shirt and command him to follow me as I feel my way through the maze of the mental institution. It's a home, a center for troubled youth, for neglected children from broken families, a safe house for the psychologically disturbed. Strike that. It's a prison. They feed us nothing, and our eyes never see each other except in the rare bursts of light that steal their way through the cracks of glass they pretend are windows. Nights are punctured by screams and heavy sobs, walls and tortured cries, the sounds of flesh and bone breaking by force or choice I'll never know. I spent the first 3 months in the company of my own stench. No one ever told me where the bathrooms and showers were located. No one ever told me how the system worked. No one speaks to you unless they're delivering bad news. No one touches you ever at all. Boys and girls never find each other. Never but yesterday. It cannot be a coincidence. My eyes begin to readjust in the artificial cloak of night. My fingers feel their way through the rough corridors. Cellmate doesn't say a word. I'm almost proud of him. He's nearly a foot taller than me, his body hard and solid with the muscle and strength of someone close to my age. The world has not yet broken him. Such freedom in ignorance. What? I tug on his shirt a little harder to keep him from speaking. We've not yet cleared the corridors. I feel oddly protective of him, this person who could probably break me with 2 fingers. He doesn't realize how his ignorance makes him vulnerable. He doesn't realize that they might kill him for no reason at all. I've decided not to be afraid of him. I've decided that his actions are more immature than genuinely threatening. He looks so familiar, so familiar, so familiar to me. Strike that. I once knew a boy with the same blue eyes, and my memories won't let me hate him. Perhaps I'd like a friend. 6 more feet until the wall goes from rough to smooth and we make a right. 2 feet of empty space before we reach a wooden door with a broken handle and a handful of splinters. 3 heartbeats to make certain we're alone. 1 foot forward to edge the door inward. 1 soft creak, and the crack widens to reveal nothing but what I imagine this space to look like. This way, I whisper. I tug him toward the row of showers and scavenge the floor for any bits of soap lodged in the drain. I find 2 pieces, one twice as big as the other. Open your hand, I tell the darkness. It's slimy, but don't drop it. There isn't much soap, and we got lucky today. He says nothing for a few seconds, and I begin to worry. Are you still there? I wonder if this was the trap, if this was the plan, if perhaps he was sent to kill me under the cover of darkness in this small space. I never really knew what they were going to do to me in the asylum. I never knew if they thought locking me up would be good enough. But I always thought they might kill me. I always thought that seemed like a viable option. I can't say I wouldn't deserve it. I'm in here for something I never meant to do, and no one seemed to care that it was an accident. My parents never tried to help me. Strike that. I hear no showers running and my heart stops in place. This particular room is rarely full, but there are usually others, if only 1 or 2. I've come to realize that the asylum's residents are either legitimately insane and can't find their way to the showers, or they simply don't care. I swallow hard. What's your name? His voice splits the air and my stream of consciousness in one movement. I can feel him breathing much closer than he was before. My heart is racing, and I don't know why, but I can't control it. Why won't you tell me your name? Is your hand open? I ask, my mouth dry, my voice hoarse. He inches forward, and I'm almost scared to breathe. His fingers graze the starchy fabric of the only outfit I'll ever own, and I manage to exhale. As long as he's not touching my skin. As long as he's not touching my skin. As long as he's not touching my skin. This seems to be the secret. My thin t-shirt has been washed in the harsh water of this building so many times. It feels like a burlap sack against my skin. I drop the bigger piece of soap into his hand and tiptoe backward. I'm going to turn the shower on for you, I explain. anxious not to raise my voice lest the others should hear me. "What do I do with my clothes?" His body is still too close to mine. I blink 1,000 times in the blackness. "You have to take them off." He laughs, something that sounds like an amused breath. "No, I know. I meant, what do I do with them while I shower?" "Try not to get them wet." He takes a deep breath. "How much time do we have?" 2 minutes. "Jesus, why didn't you say something?" I turn on his shower at the same time I turn on my own, and his complaints drown under the broken bullets of the barely functioning spigots. My movements are mechanical. I've done this so many times. I've already memorized the most efficient method of scrubbing, rinsing, and rationing soap for my body as well as my hair. There are no towels, so the trick is trying not to soak any part of your body with too much water. If you do, you'll never dry properly, and you'll spend the next week nearly dying of pneumonia. I would know. In exactly 90 seconds, I wring my hair and I'm slipping back into my tattered outfit. My tennis shoes are the only thing I own that are still in fairly good condition. We don't do much walking around here. Cellmate follows suit almost immediately. I'm pleased that he learns quickly. "Take the hem of my shirt," I instruct him. "We have to hurry." His fingers skim the small of my back for a slow moment, and I have to bite my lip to stifle the intensity. I nearly stop in place. No one ever puts their hands anywhere near my body. I have to hurry forward so his fingers will fall back. He stumbles to catch up. When we're finally trapped in the familiar four walls of claustrophobia, Cellmate won't stop staring at me. I curl into myself in the corner. He still has my bed, my blanket, my pillow. I forgive him his ignorance, but perhaps it's too soon to be friends. Perhaps I was too hasty in helping him. Perhaps he really is only here to make me miserable. But if I don't stay warm, I will get sick. My hair is too wet, and the blanket I usually wrap it in is still on his side of the room. Maybe I'm still afraid of him. I breathe in too sharply, look up too quickly in the dull light of the day. Cellmate has draped 2 blankets over my shoulders. One mine, one his. "I'm sorry I've been such an a-hole," he whispers to the wall. He doesn't touch me, and I'm disappointed. Strike that. I'm happy. He doesn't. I wish he would. Strike that. He shouldn't. No one should ever touch me. "I'm Adam," he says slowly. He backs away from me until he's cleared the room. He uses one hand to push my bed frame back to my side of the space. Adam. Such a nice name. Cellmate has a nice name. It's a name I've always liked, but I can't remember why. I waste no time climbing onto the barely concealed springs of my mattress, and I'm so exhausted I can't hardly feel the metal coils threatening to puncture my skin. I haven't slept in more than 24 hours. Adam is a nice name, is the only thing I can think of before exhaustion cripples my body. All right. Okay, so hopefully you can tell from the way it was written that our protagonist is possibly crazy. Is she crazy and that's why she's in prison? Is she crazy because of something she actually did? Because you can't tell if that's part of her craziness thinking that she did something bad to put her there and that she's an unreliable narrator. All that strikeout stuff is part of this book, and it does start to go away as time goes on, as she has company. What else can I tell you without being too spoilery? There's another man that is going to come into this story who is a person with great power, and then you will find that the two, Adam and then this other man, are going to be integral for the entire series for her. And this is a dystopian story. I know it's hard to tell from just this first chapter. So if you like a dystopian fiction, the reestablishment is supposed to be the society that is going to be the best thing for humanity. Of course it's not. And there's going to be a point where there are people who seem to be superheroes. So it becomes even more science fiction like. But it's a very long series, as I've told you. I really enjoyed the first 3 novels when I have read them. I admit that I did not read the others, but I have done my research to know that the plots become really intricate, and the rebellions and all those type of governmental things that happen, and how future characters are introduced that you wind up falling in love with, really make people fall in love with this series. So thank you for listening, and I hope it's hooked you and you have a tremendous week. Thank you.